Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 24 of the Dungeon Lore series. In this series, I hope to expand upon things you might not know about Final Fantasy XIV dungeons, as well as discuss their individual stories and lore. This episode's dungeon is the hard mode version of the Stone Vigil. The four towers surrounding the land of Coerthas and the city within the Holy See of Ishgard were once used as great watchtowers against the Dravanian horde, earning each of the towers the name of Vigil. While the vigils of Dawn, Dusk, and Steel fell to the Horde, the Stone Vigil has been the grounds of many a conflict between the houses of Ishgard and the dragons, particularly the House of Durandare. The Warrior of Light and their compatriots once infiltrated the Vigil, defeating many a dragon in their wake and seizing an airship belonging to Cid. Although it seems that at the time the Vigil was freed, it appears to have remained in control of the dragons, and their numbers are increasing by the day. The Warrior of Light speak with Faisi in Mordona, who appears to have been searching for us. They recognize us as the previous invader of the Vigil, and inform us of Ishgard's plan to form a blockade and eventual attack upon the place to free it from the Horde once and for all. Lord Driamont, who once gave us permission to enter the Vigil, seeks the counsel of the Warrior of Light, and Faisi bids us visit Whitebrim Front in central Coerthas to convene with the commander once more. We meet Driamont, who tells us of the success of their attack plan, as troops have already breached the defences of the keep and entered inside. However, the Dravanians appeared to also have a plan in mind, sealing the entrance shut after the wave of troops managed to enter, removing the option of attacking the keep by land. Therefore, the second wave must enter by air, and Driamont requests our assistance in joining the ranks of Ishgard. We are sent to speak with Sir Nathalane outside the Vigil, who tells us that the airship is not long for arrival, praising us once more for our previous assault and defeat of Isgabind within the place, and swears to the will of the Fury to reclaim the keep once more for Ishgard. We arrive in the forward base of the first wave of troops, which has been transformed into a small training ground. As to be expected, all of the enemies within the Vigil are various forms of dragons, vehemently defending the keep from the soldiers of Ishgard. Passing through the Barbican, where a wyvern similar to that of Koshé, the pestering dragon from our previous journey into the place, attacks us. Defeating it removes the wall of flames, and the party proceeds through a corridor and arrives at the Minor Hall, where an enormous worm awaits us. Gorinik, a huge horned creature, attacks the party. The beast appears to be heavily scarred, and even seems to have metal protruding from its body. During the fight, the beast uses its lion's breath to breathe fire and its horns to gore the tanking party member, while using Swinge to hit an enormous wide range in front of it. When injured, many Vigil heirs appear from the sidelines, each of which seem to be spawns of Gorinik. When defeated, they cry out in agony and damage any nearby. Gorinik charges towards the defeated heir. Doing so increases its damage and the speed at which it attacks, stacking higher with every consumed heir. Upon defeat, the next set of flames vanishes, and the party can proceed. In the next corridor, we find some apparently turned or possessed troops, fighting on the side of the dragons, all the way along the hall. The thaumaturges among the groups attempt to consume dragon's blood, and if successful transform into an Evis. As we reach a more open part of the ramparts, a large dragon descends from the outside of the Vigil. Similar to Isgabind, we must bring Goro down with the Bertha cannons nearby, requiring 3 barrages in total to chase the dragon away. After this, the rubble blocking the hall collapses, and we proceed through to the strong room, where a handful of troops and more cannons await us. Here a huge shelled dragon known as Kukafera awaits, along with the Bertha cannons, which are the only means of effectively piercing the shell of the beast. The party mans the cannons, and during the fight, the creature attacks the House Durandare troops within the area. Occasionally, the beast uses Diamondback, causing any damage to reflect upon the cannon's user, and intermittently the shelled dragon calls forth many of its fellows. While these smaller dragons are active, Kukafera spins rapidly, damaging and knocking away any who come into contact, as well as reflecting any projectiles fired at it once again. Upon defeat, the House Durandare troops push on, and the party can proceed to the final corridor of the Vigil. We fight more dragons along the way, as well as tackling more of the troops that attempt to transform into dragonkind. Once we defeat the final Avas, it drops a key to the main storage vault, and the party faces the leader of the dragons occupying the Vigil. Giri Veganus, a bipedal dragon, stands with a huge horn and many thick scales upon his body. During the fight, rather than attacking the party normally, it attacks anyone nearby at random, swiping with its claws, spitting fire from its mouth, and charging at anyone unlucky enough to be within its vision. When injured, another Giri Veganus appears, this one slightly weaker and less dangerous than the larger one, but both continue to rampage around the arena, occasionally roaring and making themselves stronger, until they both finally fall and are defeated, truly freeing the Stone Vigil from the Horde's grasp. We return to Driamont, who praises us once more, but gives us food for thought in that the Dravanians caused the Vigil to be a stain upon the landscape, and although it is now freed, the Holy War continues, and he vows to never forget the ranks of those lost in the fight, swearing the dragons will perish in the end. And that's the end of the story and lore of the hard mode version of the Stone Vigil. A second assault upon a precious vantage point for Ishgard, finally wrenching the threat of the dragons from the now free tower. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more Final Fantasy XIV lore, and I'll see you next time for Snowcloak.